Good evening, PressPros Magazine.com readers. We are happy to have you with us tonight and another edition of the Monday Huddle. I'm Bruce Hooley, sunny folks standing by from the home headquarters of PressProsMagazine.com in lovely Covington, Ohio. We have a lot of high school football regional final action to talk about, but we start the show with a state championship that we must talk about. First, congratulations to the New Bremen Cardinals on another state championship in the long and distinguished run of head coach Diana Kramer, and Sonny was there to cover it. Why don't you tell us all about it?
Ironically, her run is not so long. I mean, if you talk about she won her first one just 6 years ago in 2017, but she's certainly done a lot in those ensuing 6 years. Yeah, it was a big day for that community, and I have to say that everybody showed up. Everybody in Cardinal Red was there, and the support that I saw, I think tournament-wide for volleyball is it's encouraging. It's encouraging. It's exciting. It's exciting to see that sport and so many girls and the opportunities it portends for them. I don't think they played their best on Saturday. In fact, Diana admitted as much once we got through all the press conference stuff post game and think of that. But you know what? They're so well grounded in what they do. They had their streaks, they had their runs, and for that reason, they gave away a lot of points. They had some hitting errors, they had some uncharacteristic mistakes, and yet, and Bruce, you have been around sports at every level, and you know the good teams. And that old cliche, it's coach speak of we overcame adversity. They really did overcome adversity, because there were times when they'd go on a 6-8 point run and then turn around and give it right back to him with serving or hitting errors. And it didn't get them down. They were very confident. You could tell that Diana had imprinted them to be ready for this, that there's going to be times when you're playing a team as good as Tiffin Calvert, and they are very good. In fact, historically, they're the only two teams that have beaten New Bremen in the state Final Four, in the finals. So she had imprinted them to overcome the adversity and just get back on your game. Called some very, I thought, timely timeouts just to kind of get them back on track, take a deep breath. And they came out, and a couple players, I thought distinguished themselves for the fact that Melina Schrader really severely rolled an ankle in the semifinal game on Friday, came back and had 40 assists on a leg and a half, in Saturday's championship. And then Olivia Heitkamp led all scorers with kills with 20, and she probably hit that many right into the direct blocks of the Calvert blockers, the defensive team that they had. So, it was just, there was some suspense to it. There was some drama. You kept waiting especially after Calvert had won a set in that second set. When they had a big lead, they were 8 points up. New Bremen was 8 points up. That frittered away and got beat 28-26. And they came right back out and just established themselves in the third set, swept into the fourth set, withstood a run there in the fourth set, and then finally pulled away with Olivia Heitkamp at the end. So it was, I'll tell you what I came away with it, more than just give you play-by-play of what happened. I think it's important for people who write in and criticize PressPros Magazine for writing and talking about winning as much as we do. And people do once a week. I've already gotten my measure for this week because somebody wrote Sunday and said, I'm sure you're glad they won because it gives you another excuse to talk about how great it is to win. And it's a lot of people think it's a divisive thing. Other people think it's an elitist thing. That if by winning you're somehow setting yourself above other people, that you're better than them. Here's what it showed me Saturday, and here's what went through my mind. They didn't play well, like I just described. And yet, they found a way to take a breath and reach back and find another skill, another way, another approach, another mindset, if you will, Bruce. And you know how important that is.
Mhm.
to get back on their game and get ahead. And how important that lesson is over just taking home a damn trophy. The halls are full of trophies. But that mindset business goes way beyond volleyball at New Bremen High School or football at Marion Local. That follows you the rest of your life because you're going to get knocked down. You're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some bad things happen to you, as you know, and you're going to have to come up with a different mindset, a different approach. And that's what she's teaching her kids. That's what Tim Goodwin's teaching his kids in football. That's what Tim Beckman, our own Tim Beckman, taught his kids at St. Henry in football. He won 4 titles in 7 or 8 years. That's so important. That's the value of winning, and that's why we talk about it so much. And that's what I took away from their 4th state title Saturday for the New Bremen Cardinals, her 5th, Diana's 5th. And she's been teaching that all this time to kids who are out there now getting the school they want, the life they want, the opportunity they want, the spouse they want. In some cases, you got to compete. You have to compete for the life you want. And she's preparing those kids to do just that.
Yeah, and that is what is lost, I think, on a lot of people, and hopefully understand that in light of what you just said, that the goal of education. Look, I mean, I've been out of school a long time, but that's not why I don't remember what I learned in advanced biology. It's not why I don't remember what I learned in algebra. What I learned playing sports is that you challenge yourself, you become better because you've challenged yourself. You're coached, you're mentored, you're shepherded, you're led, you team up with other people, you collaborate. And the word of the day now that everybody loves is collaboration. And you realize that you can achieve more than you maybe originally thought you could. And those are the things that prove useful beyond the time you hoist the trophy, because we're all going to run into adversity in life. And if you've overcome adversity, and New Bremen definitely overcame adversity, they're playing a team in Tiffin Calvert that's beaten them twice in a state championship game. Diana Kramer prepared them mentally to go out and grab game 1, grab control of the match. Now, do you have to be mentally tough to blow an 8-point lead in game 2, set 2, and come back and take control again? Yes, you absolutely do. Do you have to be mentally tough in life? Yes, you absolutely do. So these are the things that people who criticize winning, and I'm not saying you have to hoist the championship trophy to get those lessons, but winning programs, teams that win league championships, teams that win regional championships or sectional championships or district championships, are teams that have learned those lessons well. Of course, it helps to have great athletes like Melina Schrader and Olivia Heitkamp. Nobody would argue that. But it's not like Diana Kramer has some market cornered on athletes that nobody else in the MAC has. Or in the case of Fort Loramie, there's a great team too. They learned those lessons at Fort Loramie this year. They learned those lessons at Versailles, at Jackson Center. We are blessed to see a lot of teams in the MAC learn those lessons in a lot of sports. What was this, Sonny? Like championship number 152 for the MAC? So these lessons are learned at Anna. Look at Anna's football team and how Anna is in a regional finals now after a 5-5 season. They're not champions of the MAC, but you better believe those Anna Rockets have learned something this year that has helped them in the postseason and gotten them to the regional finals. That's the value of sports.
There's one other example that I'm going to bring up. There's a girl and a couple of girls, but one in particular that plays at New Bremen named Ava Trinkman. And she impressed me this year when you see her out there. She's obviously a good athlete. And people talk about, and I have this right in front of me here, this note from this person. I'm glad that you see that they won because you can talk about winning. Because I'm sure for the sake of their winning, somebody else is just discouraged because if you don't win, you don't get anything out of the competition, in your words, of going out and putting in this effort. This Tinkman girl stands out to me because I don't think it's a natural sport for her, like it may be for Melina Schrader, or it may be for Olivia Heitkamp, or it was for Paige Jones, or Macy Putoff, or some of the great players they've had there, a Madison Pape, if you will. But over the course of the year, you can see the fact that every kid learns at a different rate. And Ava Tinkman has learned, is you can see it almost by osmosis from being around this imprint of Diana preaching. And she's not an easy coach to play for. She demands perfection. She demands hard work, ethic, commitment. Her practices are tough. And you could see these girls coming up to this level of the better players. That's just as important as winning. If you never win a trophy, to have those skills, like I said, osmosis, like I learned, in high school baseball, I couldn't walk and chew gum when I was 16, but my last 2 years, I learned from Chris Hardman and John Hench. I would watch them, ask them, show me how you do that. I'd go home and practice, come back the next day. I had a new skill. You see that happen with Diana's program. This is important as the 4 state championships. She's teaching these kids different ways to be able to compete. She's teaching them things they never knew they could do. And it's just from creating this culture, and culture, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's English, whether it's math, whether it's music, whether it's volleyball. You have to challenge kids, and they want to be coached hard. They want this experience more than the adults who sit out there and sling arrows at the process of winning and say it's divisive and elitist. They don't get it. They don't understand. Sometimes parents don't understand themselves how important it is for their own kid to go through this hardship and come out on the other end, shiny as a silver dollar.
If you are wondering why Mr. Folks tonight has a different background, it is because he is doing the show tonight from his home studios, which is the PressPros Monday Huddle version of Russian roulette, because we are not sure if his sketchy rural internet will hold out. I'll let him tell you the story why he is not tonight in the studios of Skynet Internet Services. But if you'd like to not play Russian roulette with your internet, then you should get a hold of our friends at Skynet Rural Internet Services.
Well, the very fact that I'm able to sit here and talk to you from my kitchen is proof positive. I couldn't have done this 3 years ago. I had such bad satellite Wi-Fi that I called Craig Grissom one day, and he said, I think I can help you. There's a better way to do it by phone. And so he hooked me up, and here we are, and there's no breakup. This is it's perfect tonight, and we could not have done this before. So if you've got sketchy Hoot Owl Wi-Fi, give them a call at 773-0998. I see you laughing. You know what Hoot Owl means. Give them a call, Mike Grissom at Skynet Internet Downtown. If you got to work from home, if you want to stream movies, if you got kids trying to do their homework and they're struggling and they can't do it, they can find a way to give you the quality you see here this evening. So again, we appreciate their sponsorship. We also appreciate them lending us their studio most nights. Tonight, I just couldn't find the key in time to get in. So here we are, and we're doing well. And thanks again to Craig and Mike Grissom at Skynet Internet, rural internet, Wi-Fi in downtown Pickwick. Give them a call.
So congratulations to New Bremen, and congratulations as well to Jackson Center and all. We have great volleyball in the PressPros original coverage area, and we want to congratulate Olentangy Orange, runner-up in Division I. Great year for the Pioneers. Speaking of Division I, as we switch over to football and the playoffs, regional finals that are coming up this week, a couple of teams that jump out at me that have learned a lot of those lessons that we talked about in terms of being exemplified by New Bremen. The Upper Arlington Golden Bears upset number 1 Gahanna Lincoln. Upper Arlington getting it done with defense. Justin Buttermore's built quite a program there. 2 years ago, they were in the regional finals against Lakewood St. Ed with a whole different cast of characters. Had a nice year last year, building this year, middle of the year. Nobody would have thought much of Upper Arlington's chances, but they shut down an explosive Gahanna Lincoln offense, and they are back in the regional finals against Hilliard Bradley, which itself flashed its defense with a shutout of Pickerington North. Our Steve Blackledge covered that one. You can find it on the Central Ohio page at PressProsMagazine.com. And then the other team, Sonny, that has shown me that they have a lot of pride in their program, a lot of want to, a lot of can do, is the Springfield Wildcats. Back-to-back runners-up in the state of Ohio, a 12 seed in their region, and they proceed to knock off number 5 Wayne, number 4 Centerville, and top-seeded Olentangy, and Mo Douglas has his team back within another victory of reaching the state semifinals. And to get there, he will have to go through two-time state champion Garen Stokes from Minster, who in year 3 at Dublin Kaufman has the Kaufman Shamrocks, a 5 seed, playing for a regional championship.
I'm reminded of what Diana Kramer said about her win on Saturday. She said there was a lot of grit and grime with that win. And that's how Springfield plays football sometimes. You know, a lot of grit, a lot of grime, a lot of kids there whose motivation is to get to that next step, get to that next skill set, if you will, that next mindset. And this is what Mo has done over the years. When he was at Trotwood, did an excellent job there. He won a title there. He's been on the doorstep a couple of times there in Springfield, as you just mentioned. And, you know, he makes believers out of his kids. It's us against the world when they go out there. That's their mindset. And I don't think there's anybody that intimidates them. I don't think there's anybody that they particularly are scared of as far as going out and being shown up on the field, or not being able to compete, or not being able to, you know, play competitively. And just year after year, as you say, a totally different cast of skills. No Bryce Schondelmeyer this year, the quarterback that's at Youngstown State now, that started out at Arcanum, transferred for his senior year at Springfield, and now at Youngstown. He will be competing for the starting job for the Penguins next year. But a totally different cast of kids. I think they moved some kids around until they found out where they were most comfortable and they were most effective. And here they are, as you say, in a regional final game this weekend.
Want to first congratulate Tippecanoe. There's another team, another program, not team, program with not a lot of pride. They lost most of the guys who were instrumental last year in winning a regional championship. Matt Burbacher didn't rebuild, he reloaded, and they really got to the regional semifinals, and Salina took them down. So we want to congratulate Matt. We want to congratulate St. Henry. St. Henry showed a lot of pride at the end of what was a disappointing regular season. But St. Henry gave Ansonia all it wanted. Ansonia now will advance. Congratulations. They get to play Marion Local, which is, of course, a heavy favorite to win its 14th state championship. Sonny, you covered the Ansonia St. Henry game, and we've had a development with the St. Henry program since that game.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say about that particular game, I had not seen Ansonia in person since September the 9th, 2021. And I was so impressed by the community, as much about the community as I was about the football. I mean, there were so many people over the weekend. We wrote that game just like we write a game every Friday night or Saturday night during the course of the playoffs of the regular season. And so many people reached out and just said, hey, appreciate you showing up to watch our kids play, because we don't get to go over to the Western Ohio Athletic Conference that much, because, you know, you've only got so many riders. There's so many miles that you can cover. And quite frankly, it has not been a particularly strong football league. It's only 3 years old, but, you know, that's a league that's building. And I think Ansonia is one of the teams they're going to build around, along with Preble Shawnee. And Tri-Village has become very good. And I know Matt Macy's trying to get Arcanum back, you know, in that competitive spirit as well. But I was just so impressed by the number of kids and the number of people who showed up. And that's not a team that throws the ball very well. It's not a very big team. It's just a team that Adam Hall, their coach, has done a superb job. And for lack of a better term, he has really sold the coach speak over there, because he says our kids buy into what we are. We're tough. We're competitive. It's kind of us against the world. A lot of people never believed that we could win 13 games this year, but I believed, and our kids believed. And he said they were there every morning at 6 a.m. in the weight room all summer long, you know, lifting, because they believed we could be here. And then they went out the other night and did a superb job of just, quite frankly, they took St. Henry out of their game. You can't score if you don't have the ball in your hands. And they have a youngster named Keegan Weiss, who's about 5'10" and maybe 185, 190 pounds at the most. And he just wants to as bad as anyone I saw play all year. Carried it 38 times for 128 yards and a touchdown. And if you think that's impressive, he carried it 46 times for 296 yards against Mechanicsburg the week before. He doesn't complain about getting the ball too much. And you know, when it was over, those kids, every one of them you talk to, Nick Burns, their quarterback, Keegan Weiss, they all credit their teammates. They all say, I couldn't do it without my buddy, without my line, without this guy, that guy. We're all in this together. And that is just so impressive. You mentioned St. Henry. I don't know if there's a development that has been officially announced yet, but they came back from 3-7 to win 3 playoff games to give themselves a chance. And I think the most important thing about what they did was 3-7 doesn't taste very good in April, May, June, and July next year. The very fact that they won 3 playoff games and they finished 6-7 for the year is a lot better building block to come back next year than what 3-7 would have been. They've got some talent on that program. I saw them for the first time this year. They were missing their starting quarterback, Charlie Whirling. Jack Hillsman came on, I thought, threw the ball and threw them back into the game in the second half. Wide receiver named Hayden Beckman, a senior this year, caught a big touchdown pass. And if that name is familiar, he's the grandson of our very own Tim. They got some talent on that team. They got some linemen, some people who are going to come back and I'm sure be in a more competitive mindset next year for the way they finished. Those extra 3 weeks of practice, remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago? That's so important because other teams don't get that. And now you got a 3-week head start on next year. And it just impressed me the other night about how much that game meant to them, but particularly to Ansonia for the fact they've never been this far before. It's like the old Conway Twitty song, never been this far before. And as you said, they're not going to be a favorite to win Friday night because they're going to play the most dynamic team in Division VII football in the state of Ohio. And the game's at Piqua. It's close where people can get to it and see it. And if you want to see a couple of really great stories, one that's won 13 titles and one seeking its first, this would be a good game to go over and spend a few dollars and see.
So there will be no surprises, of course, with Ansonia. I don't expect them to come out in the shotgun and throw it 50 times. They will run Keegan Weiss between the tackles. And Marion Local, their defense is not what Marion's defense was a year ago, but nobody's defense is what Marion's was a year ago, where they have like 11 shutouts last year. And like the second half of the year, I think they gave up 7 points or something like that. But Marion will know what's coming. The Ohio Fantastic 50 rates Marion the 10th best team in the state of Ohio in all divisions. So Ansonia is up against it, against Marion Local. You have seen, obviously, the Flyers play a lot. You saw Ansonia last week. Don't want to preview or steal your thunder from your picks page. I guess the picks page goes away this week, does it not? So maybe give us your thoughts on the picks page, on that particular game.
This is the last week for the picks page. We go through the regional finals every year, 14 weeks. The one thing that I will say about this game is that there isn't anybody in the WOAC that blitzes the way that they're going to see from Marion Local on Friday. Not just a passing attempt, because they don't pass. They threw the ball 6 times the other night and completed 3 of them, albeit one of them for a touchdown because they sucked St. Henry into the line of scrimmage. They hit, 9, 10 guys right up in the box, and they turned around, faked it to Keegan Weiss, threw it over the top of everybody wide open in the end zone. Here stands a guy wide open, Zane Henderson wide open for the touchdown. But, the one thing that I said dynamic, the one thing that Marion does, they do so many things that other teams can't do. And I think largely because they've had so many weeks of extra practice over the years. When you talk about 16 appearances in the state finals, that's a season or more of extra practices right there. And they just play to a different a level of intricacy with football that you don't get to see when you're playing Mrs. Cinewall, or you don't get to see against Arcanum, or you don't get to see. And coaches admit that. This is the challenge when you play Marion Local. You're going to see things that you don't see from other teams in Division 6 and 7 football. And that's going to be their challenge the other night. They come Friday night. They know what they do. They know what they do well. But they're not against that many bullets coming at them from stray directions like they're going to see on Friday night.
And we want to congratulate Minster. They had a tough blow in the middle of the season, losing Brogan Steffi, their quarterback. James Niemeyer stepped in, and they gave Marion as representative a game as Marion has faced all year, 28-7. So congratulations to Seth Whiting. And I know that there's got to be a lot of anticipation for Minster coming into next year when Brogan Steffi will be going into his senior year, and Seth Whiting will have, I believe, his 4th year there at Minster by that time. So a lot of promise there with Minster as they come off a very representative showing against Marion Local. As we move up to Division 6, probably the Cinderella story. I alluded to them earlier in the show. The Anna Rockets, who they have earned, and I mean earned, their way to the regional finals. They thumped Allen East, a team that played in the regional finals or maybe state semifinals last year against Marion Local. They beat Allen East, which was a 9 seed, and Anna's an 8. They beat them by 30, 58-28. You'll notice the trend here as I give you Anna's scores. They then beat whoever the number 1 seed was, Williamsburg, 52-28. Sonny Folks called that shot, by the way, in the picks page. And then they win a thriller, not in Manila, but they win a thriller against Tri-Village and the incomparable Reed Ware. What a career Reed Ware had for the Tri-Village Patriots. 56-51. So if you lost track, Anna has scored 58 against the 9 seed, 52 against the number 1 seed, 56 against the 5 seed, and now they get 2nd seeded Versailles on Friday night for the Region 19 championship.
Well, as you know, I've told you since August that I thought Anna was a dark horse. Yeah. I have believed. First of all, I think their quarterback's a super player, and I don't think anybody argues with that. I think Alex Shappy is a youngster. It's about 6'3", 6'4". He looks like a quarterback back there. He can throw it. He can make a lot of yards and points for you with his feet. He strikes me as a leader. I've seen them get thumped a couple times this year, and he never wavers. He just keeps coming back and playing. They got a running back that has really come on strong in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season named Jack Osborne. I think they've gotten some people back healthy that were dinged up and banged up a little bit. And I'll tell you another thing that you never hear the name Nick Marino. But Nick has won the state title with them 4 years ago when he had that great collection of people. I guess that was in 2019. He has won a state title with them. He comes out of that cradle of coaches, if you will, out of Urbana, Ohio, with Garen Stokes. And look, I'm a big Nick Marino fan. I just like the cut of his jib when it comes to going out there and teaching his kids maybe how to overcome some things that Diana Kramer teaches her kids. They were 2 games under 500 at one point this year, and I think a lot of people had written them off for dead, and they just kept playing. And I'm telling you, I haven't done my picks page for Friday night, but I think they're going to be highly, highly competitive against Versailles. I saw the Versailles game with them earlier in the year. Versailles took advantage of some turnovers, some fumbles, a couple interceptions, some things like that to come back and run the score up a little bit in the second half and win comfortably by 3 or 4 scores. I don't think that's going to happen Friday night. I don't think they're going to have those turnovers. I don't think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. I don't think they're going to score 56 points against Versailles. But I'll tell you, they're going to come in. They're going to be confident. They're going to have a little success under their fingernails, and they're going to give Versailles a game. I think that's going to be one of our feature games that we cover. The young'un will be there. Alan Brads And when Julie will go up there and do a great job in covering that game at Sydney, it's going to be a highly competitive game, entertaining game, and Versailles will have to play. And I think Ryan Jones knows that. He can read the scores the same way you are. Fifth seed, a number one seed, a 9 seed. They handled them all, and I'm anxious to see how that game turns out.
Yeah, it will be. It certainly portends to be a classic, as does the regional championship in 18. Division 5, the number one seed is Liberty Center, and they are getting the worst seeded team. And I don't mean that as a reflection of Coldwater. I mean, it is a joke that Coldwater was the 6th seed in its region. I said that from the very beginning. And I paid my $9 on Huddle, and I watched Coldwater do whatever it wanted to do on Friday night against Milan Edison. They had the ball 8 times, and they scored 7 touchdowns and a kneel down at the end, and they ran it right down Milan Edison's throat and threw it just for a change of pace. Balin Blockberger had 2 touchdown passes. Milan Edison got Blockberger to the tune of 42 to 7, I believe it was 42 to 7. And now Coldwater Sonny gets a chance to play Liberty Center again. They met in the playoffs last year. That was a much different Coldwater team, one that did not have did not have Marcel Blasingame, their quarterback. Coldwater is very healthy at quarterback now. They are very healthy on defense. And I would imagine that they, coaching staff at Coldwater, they've not told me this, but I would imagine that they don't mind the matchup against Liberty Center because they know they will have the attention of the Cavalier players this week, who I would imagine all summer have thought about that 34-0 loss to Liberty Center and are eager for a chance to change the history in that particular rivalry.
A couple people already yesterday and today at Putnam County Way, and they talk about Liberty Center, and here's what they say: this is going to be the most dangerous team they have played in weeks and weeks and weeks. They play a decent schedule. First of all, they're a good team. They got a good program, and they play some decent people. This will be the most dangerous opponent they have played, with maybe one other exception, which eludes me. I can't think of the name of that team at this point. And that's what other people say. The way that Coldwater is playing right now, you brought up a very good point. They're healthy. I've known Coldwater teams late in the season, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when they had their four championship run, when they weren't as healthy as what they are right now, and they won the Division 5 title. So I think what you got here is a confident team on offense. They've got those weapons. As you said, they're not afraid to run right at you. They're not afraid to throw the ball over the top. They'll suck people in. They'll stick one down the stovepipe on you. That is classic Chip Otten football. Big risk, big gain. And he's not afraid to do that. But what impresses me about them, and nobody talks much about their defense, except maybe if it's Chip, but they pursue on defense better than I think what Liberty Center has seen for weeks and weeks. I'm not taking anything away from the teams they've played, but they're going to catch a red-hot football team that's confident, healthy, and I guarantee you the Coldwater is as well coached as anybody that Liberty Center will have seen in 2023.
And speaking of teams that are healthy, they are fortunate at this point in the year. But for the teams that are not fortunate, our good friends at Orthopedic Associates of Southwest Ohio can get your athlete back on the field, or at this point in the season, back on the court, because many of our athletes go straight from football to basketball season. Sonny, tell us about what they do at your friends at Orthopedic Associates.
What a segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a segue that was.
It's not my first ready.
Yeah. They the people at Orthopedic Associates of Southwest Ohio has been our exclusive sponsor throughout the year on the Friday Picks page. By the way, the Friday Picks page has set records this year for readership that I never thought would be set. We're up so many this year, and a lot of people who have discovered it. have enjoyed it, have written kind words about it, have said, "Hey, it's amazing how you get that. You guys get that many of them right. It's entertaining. We enjoy it. Sad to see it go. We'll be back next year, but you have the orthopedic people at Southwest Ohio to thank for that. As they say, they've got a lot of convenient offices and places where you can go from Sydney all the way to Hamilton and east and west from the border, I think, as far over as Champaign County. 7 different offices, great doctors, and they pride themselves in their care and compassion for all facets of the orthopedic practice. You could not be in better hands. When you need them, they're there for you, convenient. People, I think when you need them, you're going to be glad they are there. You're going to be glad you heard about them here on PressPros. The Orthopedic Associates of Southwest Ohio, and my friend Dr. Matt Heckler, who's the president of that organization, and on duty and a resident up at Sydney Memorial Hospital, Wilson Memorial Hospital. So when you need them, they're there. And our thanks again to the Orthopedic Associates of Southwest Ohio for their certainly support and sponsorship for the Friday Night Picks this year. We'd expect to have them back next year, and I think you're going to see a big profile of them on PressPros here after the first of the year as well.
So closing thoughts, whether you want to drop in something from the Reader Speaks or thoughts about the games coming up this weekend. The MAC is well positioned with Anna, Versailles, Marion Local, Coldwater to add to its illustrious history and dominance of Ohio high school football. They have 3 games in the 3 playoff games in the books, 3 more to win if you're Marion, if you're Versailles, if you're Anna, if you're Coldwater, to add to that illustrious MAC state championship game history. But as we wrap it up tonight, we've had a robust audience. We appreciate all you folks watching live. We appreciate you sharing our content online, letting people know about the Monday Huddle. Sonny, your thoughts as we wrap up the show?
Well, I'm just going to bring up one particular writer from Olentangy Orange. As you know, Friday when they won, we had a short piece, about 300 or 400 words, about their semifinal win. And then, of course, when they lost in the finals to a very, 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 very good team. We did put something in there with a couple of pictures just to let people know back in the Central Ohio area that what the outcome of the game. And this individual wrote, he said, "I wish you could have written as much about our kids as you wrote about New Bremen," but he said you didn't have as much to write about. And he said, "I understand that. We're just thankful that people are paying as much attention, that you guys paid as much attention. We read you on Friday nights. We know your football work over here. We appreciate the coverage and the attention that you gave to volleyball, and a sport that means an awful lot to those young ladies that play." This person was very kind. I'm paraphrasing a lot of the things he said. I kind of got it here in front of me, but I don't see it as well as I would normally see it. But I thank that person for taking the time and writing to us, who obviously gets it about the value that Diana Kramer and John Rogers and Aaron Watkins and all those people, those great volleyball coaches in our area, talk about all the time about the coming trend of volleyball and how important it's going to be. Somebody said, and I think I said this, repeated it back in August, volleyball is going to become the new football for girls. It's that compelling, competitive. It builds peoples, it builds the minds, it builds the body, and it just gives these girls such an outlet to go out and compete and impress people. And honestly, there's scouts everywhere. Colleges, Division I, Division II, they're out there everywhere looking for talent for volleyball. And they were there Saturday. And I was so impressed with a girl named Lily Barron from Olentangy Orange. Going to the University, are you ready for this, Bruce? The University of Houston next year to play volleyball. So these are opportunities that never existed before, and they owe it to the sport of volleyball. And you can slam me all you want to about writing about winning. These are skills. These are opportunities. It's not divisive at all. What it is, it's not elitist. It's just people learning how to take advantage of the skills and the gifts they have. That's all I got to say.
And we also want to congratulate the Tippecanoe boys soccer team, Division II state champions. Phenomenal victory by Tip And obviously my medical situation has reduced our normal complement of riders. We would have been there if we had the personnel, but we just didn't have the personnel. We certainly acknowledge a great effort by Tippecanoe to win their second state championship in soccer. A great accomplishment on their part, and no state championship is to be undervalued. We just could not staff that, and we certainly would have liked to, but it just didn't work out the way we wanted to.
Let me ask you this: aren't you an ex-state champion?
That is correct. Yes, twice. Not that I'm counting.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Count all you want. I would have loved to have counted once or just one. I never got that opportunity. But congrats to Tip, and I know that's those kids down there work very hard with that. I remember when they won their first one, I think 4 or 5 years ago. That was a big deal, and it surprised a lot of people in Miami County. Tip won the state championship in soccer. It's always been a basketball school. Now it's a football school in equal rating. And for those boys to come out like that and do that, that's a heck of an accomplishment. So good on you.
So thank you guys for watching. Remember to patronize our sponsors. Thank them for being sponsors at PressProsMagazine.com. They make our content free to everybody, no paywall ever. You get everything that you see on Press Pros. You can share it. We appreciate that. Share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook. Let them know about our site and where they can read the best high school football, high school volleyball, college football. Ohio State. Jeff Gilbert will be on the Ohio State-Minnesota game, as he was Ohio State and Michigan State over the weekend. UD with the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy covering the Flyer basketball team as he did the Flyer football team. We appreciate all of you. And with that, I will give Mr. Folks the last word.
Well, you just got my last word. I hope we're looking forward to a great weekend of regional final football here. I just can't say, and I hope you people go out and this is the real playoffs. You know, I wrote about this a few weeks ago and I probably ruffled a few feathers, but these are the real playoffs now. This is not inclusive football. These are teams that have earned it. These are teams that deserve to be there, and these are teams who know they have an opportunity to get to that place where they've never been before, except Marion Local and maybe Ann in that case. But a team like I even wore a little orange tonight, accidentally, but we wish the Ansonia Tigers certainly the best of luck on Friday night. And win or lose, I hope you enjoyed that experience, have some fun with it, because I know it's going to be something you remember the rest of your life, and that's why we play.
Indeed. Good night, everybody. Thanks for your time. Have a great evening.